Hey there guys, welcome to today's video. Today's video is all about ISAs and why you should invest in an ISA. Now if you don't know what an ISA is, an ISA is a type of account in the UK which allows you to put in £20,000 per year, up to £20,000, and any sort of interest earned on that is tax free. So let's get started with this. There's a few different types of ISA, so we'll just go through it. Now the first type of ISA is just your general sort of cash ISA for savings. So you can put up to 20,000 in that ISA, and any interest earned on that you won't pay any tax on. So it's £20,000 per year. You know, if you put £20,000 for 5 years, then it's 100,000. You know, the amount of tax you start to pay, you know, it soon starts to add up, especially if you are putting in those maximum contributions there. So it's just a way to save and not pay any tax, basically. Now on to the next type of ISA. There are stocks and shares ISAs. Now with these types of ISAs, this basically allows you to not be taxed on any capital gains or on your dividends on that money that you've invested within the ISA. So if you could put 20,000, the whole amount, into just stocks and shares ISAs, or you could split it, you know, 10,000 in the cash ISA and 10,000 in the shares ISA. But if, for example, you put, you know, the 20,000 all in the stocks and shares, and then you made, you know, you started buying different shares, and some were dividends, some that were, you know, growth stocks. Well, any capital gains you made, you know, if you bought Tesla and it shot up, you know, 1,000%, you know, any sort of gains you're making, you won't pay any tax on those. And normally there is a certain amount of capital gains allowance per year, which I believe is 12,300. So if you're just starting off, I mean, you won't really have to worry about paying capital gains anyway until you start investing, you know, larger amounts. Same thing with dividends. You know, again, the stocks and shares ISA is you don't pay any tax on any dividends you earn from the money that's put in there. One issue is though, there is already in the UK, on any account, there is a dividend allowance up to £2,000 where you won't pay any tax anyway. So you need to be earning over 2,000 you know, per year in order to really make it worth it, you know, to put your money in the stocks and shares ISA. Because otherwise you wouldn't be paying any tax anyway. You know, there's a tax allowance for dividends. Same with capital gains. If you're not earning more than 12,300 in capital gains, then there's not really much reason to put in a stocks and shares ISA, just because within the stocks and shares ISA, they're normally managed and there's a fee. So you will have to pay a fee. So if you're earning below those amounts, my advice really is not to put it in the stocks and shares ISA, or at a later date. Now on to another type of ISA, which is probably one of the most beneficial, is the lifetime ISA. And what this is you can open this from the age of 18 up to 39. You can open an account. So if you're over the age of 39 and 40, you won't be able to open an account. But again, if you're within that age range, you can open one whenever you want. And you can put in £4,000 per year. And we're counting the tax year here, so up to April will be the tax year. It has to be within the tax year. £4,000, and the government will match it 25%. So if you put in £4,000 every year, the government will give you £1,000 free, and that's yours. And you'll start earning interest on that as well. You know, but that's completely your money. So every 4,000 you put in, you'll earn 1,000 from the government. Now you don't need to put in the full 4,000. They'll just give you a 25% bonus. So if you put in 1,000, you get 250 from the government. Now this is limited to 4,000, you know, per year. So you'll still have 16,000 to put in the other types of ISA. So you can put your, you know, if you wanted to put the max amount in ISAs per year, you could leave, you know, 16,000 in a cash ISA, and then just, you know, use max out the lifetime ISA with 4,000. Now you can do this every year. So, you know, if you do max it out, which I suggest you do, it's £1,000 free every year. Now a couple of things to note with this is This money is tax free, but you know, it's sort of in the name that's a lifetime ISA. You can't take, you can. If you take the money out before you're 60 years old, you will pay tax, 25%. So all of that contributions that the government have made, all of that will be removed basically. So your own money won't really be removed, but all of the free 25% every year from the government, that will be removed. So if you wait until you're 60 years old and then you remove it, you will pay zero tax. So you will just get all of that. And obviously, you know, it adds up £1,000 a year. You know, you can make up to a maximum of £33,000, you know, bonus from the government basically. So, you know, it's probably the best type of ISA that I would recommend. Obviously, it's great to put if you are doing savings, trying to save, you know, quite a lot. Then it's way better to put it in the cash ISA than the regular account. So definitely the cash ISA, you know, it's always a great idea. But this £4,000, you know, is probably the best of these kinds of ISAs, just because, you know, you're getting £1,000 free. You know, every single year if you put in the max amount, and the max amount's only 4,000. So you know, it's a huge bonus, a huge cash bonus, and a nice bit of extra income that's tax free, and you'll be getting interest on that as well. So you know, my suggestion is definitely, you know, top up the lifetime ISA. If you didn't know about it, go and open one straight away and start putting it in. I mean, at the moment we're in January, you can still put in 4,000 until April, and it will count within that year. And then after April, you can put in another 4,000. So, you know, it's the best time to start now. A couple more things about the lifetime ISA is if you want to buy your first property, so if you don't own a home and you're looking at buying your first house ever, you've never owned any other homes, then you can actually take the money out as well. That's an exception. So it will, if you use the money for a deposit on your first home, that will be tax free as well. That's the only allowance really where you can get the money before you're 60. So obviously, you know, that can help a lot, especially as you know, typically you'll be paying 15-20% for a deposit, and if a house is, you know, 200,000, you know, it starts to add up to quite a bit of money. You know, it's 20% about 40,000. So you know, doing this for a few years, you can you know, just that extra 1,000 here and there, that can really help. Another little trick here is the ISA limit is one per person. So if you're married or you're buying a house with your partner, whatever it may be, both of you can have lifetime ISAs, and both of you can use those towards a deposit. So you can use those two lifetime ISAs towards one house deposit, which is obviously great because, you know, with two, that's really going to add up to, you know, quite a few thousand extra towards your deposit. So just take that, you know, into consideration. That's one way it can help you, you know, save for a house, because it's very hard these days, you know. Banks don't want to lend as much, and you know, they're not as trusting. They want more of a deposit. House prices are always going up, they're never going down. Everything costs more, so you know, anything that can help you a bit to get your deposit. And if you pay a, you know, a higher deposit, that also will help with your payments, you know, a bit lower payments, and they're more likely to give you, you know, a better interest rate. So definitely, you know, think about opening the lifetime ISA. And the cash ISA as well. The stocks and shares one, I would say for most people, that's not really going to be of much use, just because it's got a fee on it, and there's already, you know, a 12,300 capital gains allowance, and there's already a £2,000 dividend allowance. And you know, if you look at certain sort of dividend yields, for Apple, for example, I believe it's 0.64. So if you put £100 in, you'd be getting, you know, 64 pence. So it's going to take you a while to get to the, you know, the £2,000 dividend limit before you start paying tax. Once you do get to that amount, you know, then by all means it may work out better to use the stocks and shares ISA, but you will have to check the fees that are involved with that and see if it's actually worth it, you know. So thanks for watching the video, guys. Give the video a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.